Skimas romantic.
Welcome to Skimo Gold. This is the premier podcast and YouTube show for ski mountaineering interviews and race analysis. Warm welcome back to Katie Friend, the voice of ISMF Skimo. She's at Katie Friend on Instagram. That's Katie with a C. And today we are breaking down the final World Cup of the season at Villars, in addition to discussing the overall rankings for the season and talking about what's coming next with a few remaining races and some shout outs to great athletes who will be moving away from the top tier of professional Skimo racing. Big thanks, as always, to Camp for supporting our show. The people at Camp are racers, adventurers, and mountain people who've been supporting everything ski mountaineering racing all over the world since the beginning, including this podcast. Thank you, Camp. Thank you to your Golden, Colorado-based team here in the United States, and also to the founders over there in Italy, up there in the mountains. Real mountain people, real mountain culture, real mountain products. Shout out as well to Liz Desmond, the winner of last week's trivia contest. I had posed the question, who from last week's show about the Grand Traverse appeared in a reality TV show in 2003? Liz knew the answer immediately, and that was Jesse Rickert of Gunnison. Jesse was on that show. He was one of the winners, along with Ted Mann from Aspen, and those guys proceeded through the show. It was called Global Extremes. It was one of the first sort of reality TV shows of this genre. I think maybe they went to every continent, and on each continent there would be kind of this adventure challenge, almost like an adventure race sort of thing. But it was the real deal. It was serious. People were eliminated each step. Liz, in fact, was on the show, which is awesome. And anyway, yeah, Jesse was one of the winners, and he got to go to Mount Everest and summit, which is awesome. So way to go, Liz Desmond. And Liz also is the mother of Helen Desmond, who we will talk about later in the show, a talented up-and-coming ski racer for USA Skimo, who is now racing at the senior level in World Cup events. So get ready for that conversation. So anyway, thanks for playing, everyone who submitted answers, and who knows, maybe more trivia coming at you. But that's about it for now. Welcome to Skimo Gold, and let's roll with Katie Friend. Katie Friend, welcome back to Skimo Gold. It's a pleasure to be here with you, as always, as we record today on April 7th. We're breaking down the races over the weekend at the Villars World Cup. We're also talking about the overall points for the season in terms of World Cup and World Championship races. A little look ahead to a few more races remaining. Fingers crossed, especially the race in Colorado. I hope it happens. There's not much snow and it's melting fast, so we shall see. And then we're talking about some notable retirements, people moving away, at least from the pro side of Skimo. Some shouts out to folks who've played a big role over the years. First, though, as I said, not much snow here in the Mountain West. Watching, however, the Villars World Cup, it looked awesome, Katie. There's tons of snow. There's peaks off in the distance that are snow covered. I mean, it looks like the Alps in winter, and it looks awesome. Set the scene, Katie, for this venue, this event, and what was it like out there?
Well, it's a gorgeous part of the world, actually. You go into Villars ski resort and then you take the train up. It's lovely. It's
Mm.
very cute, very Swiss. Train goes up to the Col de Bretagne, which is at 1,800 meters. They've had the World Championships there. They had the Youth Olympic Games there. They've had at least 4 World Cups now. I'm not sure if more than that, but definitely 4. And it's great. It's sort of, this sort of open bowl where you can just put everything. There's a lovely restaurant, so you can actually stand on the terrace and watch everything happen.
Mm.
And they're super experienced there. The snow, we had snow week before last, and we had sort of cold temperatures overnight, which meant it stayed lovely and fresh. And it is now really warm. So I think they did it
Mm.
absolutely at the right time, because spring has sprung. But no, perfect. Great conditions and very good organization. So yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, listeners, if you haven't seen that ISMF YouTube, as usual, there's some great highlight videos. There's the full commentary for the sprint and the mixed relay with Katie and Mireia Moreau doing a great job as always. I loved watching it, and you're right that train they show this beautiful is it green greenish blue, this
Yeah.
just I'm sitting there, again here in summertime Colorado. I'm like, man, I want to be on that exact train in the winter or in the summer. I'm sure it's glorious any time of year. Just yeah, what a great venue, and hard racing to the end in many events, more even just in the highlights of the individual race, just like awesome, fast, technical downhill skiing. This is what you want to see in Skimo for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Before we get into the results, Katie, anything in particular that stood out to you about the weekend? Whether it was performances or anything else interesting, surprising, etc.
I think what's just really lovely is that while it is incredible that the sport is spreading, at the moment, you still have the sort of core nations. And so when it
Mm.
comes to Switzerland, everybody's out, the cowbells are binging, the flags are
Mm.
waving, they're chanting names, and it sort of got that feel of, an established sport. And that, well, is no comparison to Bormio. It is really lovely. I love to see that. I love to hear the crowd roaring and, everybody, people with their favorites. And for example, Matteo Favre, who comes from Sion, which is about 40 minutes from where I live, local boy. And it was just his mates. Everywhere you go, anytime you go anywhere in Switzerland, there's these young men who,
Mm.
if you passed them in the street, you would think, well, just a bunch of young men. But there they are, absolutely roaring and hollering for their sporting buddies. It's just, I love it. It's really wholesome.
Nice. I love it. You're reminding me. I think we mentioned previously on the podcast these Cam Smith red
Yeah,
beards that other young men, the Cam fans, guys are wearing these at the Olympics. You probably saw them. I happen to know at
I
the.
own one,
gr-
actually.
Oh no way! You gotta tell. Did you get? Where'd you get the red beard, Katie? At the Olympics or what?
Yes, I think it was Cam's cousin gave it to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe I don't know if that would be comfortable to wear for an entire podcast, but maybe sometime.
No, but I
And
can
I
show you a
do
picture.
happen
Keep
to.
talking.
Okay, yeah, let's get that on camera. I have personal accounts of people. Oh, there we go. Check it out on YouTube, folks. That's you. I mean, that literally
That's
looks like
me.
Cam Smith, but apparently that's you. This is
That is
a
me.
audio listeners. It is a big, bushy red beard. It's sticking on your face, Katie. Is it glued on? Is it?
No, good Lord,
Oh,
no.
there's
It's
you
on
with.
elastic. There's
Oh,
me
it's on
with the
elastic.
original beard as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, there you go. I know. The boy, the fake Cam beard almost looks more real than the real Cam Smith. beard. Yeah, but I was saying I know at least one person wore one of those for the entire Elk Mountains Grand Traverse ski race. Yeah, you know, which took him. Well, it took Cam 7.5 hours, so everyone else it took longer. That's a long time overnight, especially as you're getting sweaty and gritty. I can
Yeah.
only imagine those things probably are not made for comfort.
Yeah.
But
No, 100% polyester.
yeah, that's the spirit. All right, Katie, I'm glad that you have one. I hope it's up on your wall of fame and
I think
Skimo.
it's behind me in one of those special, yeah, souvenirs. It's somewhere in
Yeah.
my office
Okay.
because I like to
Yeah.
keep it as a souvenir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who knows? I mean, that's the kind of thing. You know, your son may end up racing with that thing at some time, or who knows? Maybe he'll have his own bushy red beard at some point in his life. um. Anyway, on to let's get into these races in the results from Villars. Katie, where do you want to kick it off? Which race do you want to start with?
Well, let's go in the order in which they occurred. Let's start with the vertical.
Great.
So the vertical race, unsurprisingly, with the women was won by Axel Gachet-Molleret of France. Second place, Emily Harrop, also of France. Johanna Himmer in third place. Alba Di Silvestro of Italy and Margot Ravenel. That's the top five for the women. And Rémi Bonnet, unsurprisingly again, won the men's race. Aurélien Gay, whose house I can practically see out of my window. He was second. Paul Verbniak of Austria, third. Herman de Bertelis of Italy, fourth. And Antonio Alcalde of Spain in fifth. And that kind of led on to then understanding the overalls, but I don't know when you want to talk about those. So
let me mention the Americans real quick for our U.S. audience. In the women's vertical, we had Haley Hafman in 13th. Gwen Rudy was 23rd, and Sarah Burke, 20th place. Great job to those American women. And let's see on the men's side. I was saying I tried to print these out and my printer ran out of ink, so I'm looking online. John Rowan came in 22nd place. Great job to John. I've learned that John really enjoys Lara bars. A little bit of John Rowan trivia here. He works at a cookie shop in a ski town. I won't say which town or which cookie shop, but this place makes really good cookies. Interesting fact, Mr. Rowan has never eaten one of the cookies from that shop, but he loves the Lara bar. So great job to John. 22nd place in the World Cup, and I think that was the only American man that I see. Again, the individual, the boot pack, Katie, that stood out to me watching the highlights. This is like a good long classic boot pack. It's steep, it's deep. It looks like you're going for a long time. Just I used to joke, and maybe it's still true for me. My favorite discipline in Skimo is the boot pack. Spoken like a true runner who's learned to ski as an adult. Other crossover athletes you may know, gotta love that boot pack.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, when I took up Skimo and I was only a skier, I was not a mountaineer or anything. I quite look forward to the boot pack in a big race like a Patrouille des Glaciers or something like that, because it's a complete change of muscle group, and it's definitely not a rest, but it sort of changes what you're doing. It wakes up my brain. And the one on the small PDG though is so steep. You are literally looking at the backs of the boots of the person in front of you. It's so steep. It's one of those ones where I have to go, just keep focusing on the next step, because if you look sideways or down or anything, it's really freaky. But I also very much like a boot pack.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially on a real, and we may see this in the Olympics next time around. If it's steep and technical, I remember some of those in the Pyramenta. You're skiing along down low, and you look up, and seeing those leaders way up there, and it's like, oh my God, we are about to go up there, and then half an hour later, you're in this steep couloir and maybe you have the crampons on, maybe not. You might be clipped into a rope. And like you said, it's feet in the face, and
Yeah.
don't go too close if they're wearing crampons. Like, you
Yeah.
might get poked in the eye or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And it is, back to, people who do real mountaineering. I mean, that's the name of the game, and
Yeah.
it's cool, and it's neat. I like it in a race because that the terrain has been vetted. It's probably safer than doing it on your own. It's a neat way to experience something extreme and technical.
Definitely. Unless, of course, you are
Yeah.
short and the person who put the boot pack in is tall. Uh,
Oh, yes.
I am quite tall, and I've raced with much shorter girlfriends, and they are just like, just trying
Yeah.
to hike themselves into these huge gaps between them. But yeah, no,
Yep.
I thoroughly enjoy it. Good. So you love the individual. So in the women's race, interestingly, exactly the same top five for the women in the individual race as it was for the vertical, which is very cool. Axel Gashimolere, Emily Harrop, Johanna Hiemer, Alba de Silvestro, and Margot Ravinel took the top five there. And in the individual, Remy Bonnet, then William Bombardier, who is some sort of phenomenon. I mean, I think the man is 43 this year, and he's not that far behind Remy Bonnet. Then Paul Verbniak again in third, Simon Bellabouvier of France, and Thomas Bussard of Switzerland in fifth for the men and the individual.
It looks like ISMF YouTube has some good highlight films. I think the winners in both of those were pretty clear cut from the start, as has been typical, but there was some good action, in the sort of second through fifth places, passes back and forth. It looked exciting and dynamic. And shout out as usual to the American. 17th place was in the women's, Haley Hafman. We had similar to the vertical, 23rd place Sarah Burke, and 25th place Gwen Rudy. So way to go, American women. And let's see, American men, on round 43rd place. Way to go, fueled by many Larabars and probably other items as well. Maybe cookies, not from his own shop, but I bet there's some good cookies you can get out there at that deck up there looking over Switzerland. So, all right, yeah, great individual race. Katie, what's next?
Then we went on to the sprint race, which was very exciting. And there was all sorts of stuff. Well, I mean, the thing is, all of the races had a lot more than just the race riding on them this week. But I think we're going to cover that in a moment. But in the sprint race,
Yes.
Emily Harrop won again and made that her 16th victory in a row. Of all the races she's entered in the World Cup since April 2024. Every World Cup sprint she's entered, she's won. But I think it makes it her something like her 21st overall World Cup sprint victory. Margot Ravinel in second place. And then Julia Murada in third, Marianne Faton in fourth, and Ana Alonso in fifth. In the men's sprint, slight bit of argy-bargy right at the end there with
we should talk
Jon
about that.
Kissler taking the win ahead of Thibaut Anselmet. Oriol Cardona-Cole, who did a full 360 right on the way down into the finish line, and Inigo Martinez, and then Luca Tommazzoni of Italy. They make up fourth and fifth, respectively.
That's right. And sixth place, Arno Lieta. We'll be talking about him more as well. Yeah, that was fun watching those. I remember you saying that in the coverage again. Emily Harrop, 16 straight World Cup victories. Remarkable the consistency. It looked like a dynamic course, men's and women's races. People were sliding. You know, it looked like it was warm. You know, you probably know better than I, but there was definitely, you know, slipping around, getting that traction sometimes sliding back. That's tough and dynamic. And then, yeah, that men's finish, Katie. So you know, you get to that top transition. Jan Kissler's just in the lead. Thibaut Ansame right with him. I mean, he's knocking on the door. You can see that Thibaut's looking for a downhill pass. It looked like Oriol, something happened on the transition. He had been there, but he's not in the game on the downhill. And then tell us that finish line, Katie. What could you see? I watched the replay a few times. We couldn't see much on the camera. What do you think happened there?
I think that Thibaut Anselme miscalculated how wide Jan Kissler would go. Jan Kissler did not know
Mm,
that Thibaut Anselme was right behind him and went wide. I mean, that's what I could see. It was also a very odd, so it went wide, but then there was some netting. So it meant that
mm,
when Thibaut went wide to overtake Jan, he was sort of stuck and then had to come in quite sharp. Jan Kissler didn't see him and clacked his skis, I think, against him as he was starting to skate and effectively blocked Thibaut Anselme from getting, but he was, as far as I can see, he was completely within his rights. They had not passed the line which they
mhm.
are not allowed to overtake or block people. And it was just, I think Thibaut said on his Instagram that it was to do with that angle of coming around that tight right hand bend. It just perhaps wasn't particularly well designed. I am not quoting him. That is what I understood from
Yep.
him, but that is not me putting words into his mouth. But I think it was just an unfortunate incident, if you like. And it
Mhm.
was what it was. Nobody was in the wrong. It just happened. I mean, there was a bit of frustration on Thibaut's part as he crossed the line because I think he thought maybe he had been blocked, but it was just, in my opinion, it
Yep.
just happened.
Yeah, that was kind of my read too. You know, I mean, I watch a lot of road cycling races, and you see this particularly in sprints, holding the line, closing the door. There can be a thin line of what's legal, what's safe. In Skimo, if you look closely, you know, you see before the finish line, there's some of these, you know, sort of
The brushes.
things put in the ground, yeah, brushes that stick out. And once you get to those, you have to stay in your lane. So, you know, for a sprint finish, my view is these brushes, it wasn't very long. It was quite close to
No.
the starting line where those even started. And you know, I think according to the rules, before you get to those, you're allowed to move, and that was my read as well. Thibaut was coming in fast; you could tell he had momentum, and I think you're probably right. Jan is also, he's just going for the line as well, and he ended up coming to that far left lane, which is kind of where Thibaut already was coming from behind, but you can't really tell where he's coming from, and there was a little bit of contact, and it definitely did, you know, halt
Yeah.
Ansel May's chance of making the pass. But yeah, you know, my read is
Yeah.
just kind of one of those things. You know, I don't think there was any intent. But yeah, there were a little. I don't know what the words were. You could see there was a little bit of
Yeah.
frustration on the
Yeah.
finish line. You know, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Absolutely. It does indeed.
Can I mention the Americans real quick? In the sprint, women, there was Gwen Rudy in 19th and Helen Desmond in 26th, and also what else did I see
Carson
on
Lays, was
here?
she there?
Carson Lays, yeah, in 28th, yeah, and she showed up later on as well. But couple of younger American athletes there with Lays and Desmond. So great job getting into the senior race, ladies. And let's see, American men. Arthur Whitehead came 25th. in the sprint. And Ian Clark was 32nd. So great job, guys, on wrapping up your sprint seasons.
Yeah, no, it's great to see so many Americans, especially in the women's category. That was great. You heard my almost faux pas that I've nearly called Arthur Whitehead my dad's name. Did you hear that on my perhaps not an appropriate thing to
No,
be saying on the streaming. My dad's name is Arthur Muirhead. And like I
oh,
literally
okay.
am so close
Yeah.
every single time to announcing my dad on the start line. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So
Oh, Arthur, I hope you're listening.
yeah, almost certainly not. um, so yeah, no, it was good. It was really fun. It was really exciting. It was a good course. It was really steep. It's well a lot steeper than it looks on the screen. And then we had the mixed relay, which I thought was
Excellent.
actually one of the best of the season. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm,
Won
yeah.
by Ana Alonso Rodriguez and Oriol Cardona Call. Then amazing racing, I thought, for the final season from Alba Di Silvestro and Michele Boscacci. Really, really strong racing
Yeah.
from them. A bit of a lovely, so that's two love stories in a row, Celia Pierre-Pessé and Thibaut Salmé racing together, which is lovely.
Mm,
Not their first time racing together, but often that was nice to see them. Johanna Hemer and Paul Verbniak finishing fourth for their final ever race together, and Tatiana Paller
mm.
and Finn Hirsch, actually, who are the most experienced duo on the circuit. They have raced together the most out of everybody. So, yeah, it was. I thought it was a really, really fun race. I thought everybody just brought out their A game for this final race, and it was exciting. You know, lots
Yeah.
of kick turns and different tracks to choose from, and yeah, I really liked it.
That surprises me that Poller and Hosch have the most races together, even more than
Tatiana and Finn.
the Italians, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, any team that has more than a few people can allow them to sort of mix and match. So, for example, Alba
Yeah,
has
that's right.
raced
Yep.
with Nicolo Canclini, or they've had a bit of a mix and match. But right from the start, there's really only been Tatiana and Finn that are of that level at the moment. Certainly, that won't be the case going forward. But yeah, so they have, I think, 20 races together. I mean, there are others that are not
Yeah.
far behind. For example, the Slovakians who didn't race at the weekend, they are very close. They've got a lot of experience together. But of that field, they were
Yep.
certainly the most experienced pair.
Yeah. And it was a dynamic race. Good one to go back and watch, folks. It stood out to me. Oriol Cardona Cole, kind of like in the sprint, couple transition skin issues. At one point, he kind of puts his skin on with the bungee, and it gets out of his hand, and the skin kind of shoots away, and then he
Yeah.
just takes another one out. I guess you're allowed to. I think he just
No,
let
he
that
actually
thing
went to
fly
get
into
it.
the crowd, or oh, he
He
did
did
get
go and
it.
get it.
Okay.
He picked it up and used it, the
Okay.
same one.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, all right, that's good. No littering allowed.
No,
But what we did see, he lost a few seconds, but that typical Oriole fitness, he was able to rocket back up to where he wanted to be for the finish. And we did have a couple American teams. Ninth place, making final A, was Carson Lays and Arthur Whitehead. And then in final B, seventh place, Helen Desmond and John Rowan. So again, great job, and especially those young ladies. I think Carson is 20. Helen, I'm not sure exact age, but also young,
I can tell
and
you.
great to see them coming on to. Okay.
Oh no, I scribbled it somewhere. Oh yeah, here we go. There's my notes from the other day. Helen, born in 2007, so she's only. I mean, she could not
Mm.
even. She might not even be
Yeah,
19
19.
yet. She may have
Yeah,
only still be 18. So yeah, it's really, really great
yeah,
to see them. Both of them have had some great results this season. They were third
yeah, and they were
together in the Pyramenta Jeune.
cool. Nice.
And Helen has been top 10 in all the Youth World Cup races this season.
Let's see, and that I guess that's all the races for the weekend, Katie. And how about on
Mhm.
to the overall here, this as the last World Cup, we get to the season rankings. Katie, I'll let you keep leading. Where do you want to start with those?
Okay. Well, I might just link back to each of the races where it's relevant. But so in the vertical, it was fairly clear that Axelle Gachet-Molleret would take the win. She has won all three of the races she was in. Is it three? I think so. All of them anyway. Vertical. Yes. Four, in fact. All four. And Emily Harrop behind her. Sarah Dreyer, who has been had some niggling issues. I'm not sure, injuries or something going on, and has not had her best end of the season, but she still finished third overall. So that's amazing for her. Sarah Dreyer of Austria, that is. Rémi Bonnet, again, unsurprisingly, won. He won all four of the World Cup races and also European Championships. Aurélien Gay of Switzerland second, and Paul Verbniak of Austria in third. And then to the individual, Rémi Bonnet sort of had quite a lot to get some points for, as we're going to come to. So he won the individual overall for the men, Paul Verbniak in second, and Thomas Bussard in third. In the women, excitingly, Alba Di Silvestro won the individual overall, taking it back. She last won it in 2020. She also won it in 2019. And she broke the French blockade, if you like. It had been either Axelle or Emily since then. And so she took that back. Alba Di Silvestro of Italy, Giulia Morada second, and then Axelle Gachet-Molleret in third, which is unusual. But there were not as many. The French couldn't be in Azerbaijan, so they missed out on the opportunity there for that individual race.
Nice.
So that's that. And then at that stage, that meant that Rémi Bonnet could not be beaten in the overall. And so he was, thanks very much. And we're going to come on to that in a second, but he was done. He had basically, no matter who won what going forward on the sprint, he could not be beaten in the overall World Cup rankings. So then on to the sprint title, and very excitingly, Margot Ravinel, even though she was second in the sprint race, Margot Ravinel won the overall sprint title, which is really exciting. And a couple of things about that. She actually only had to be in sixth place in order, even if Emily won, Margot Ravinel only had to be sixth to win the overall title. There was a reasonable chance that she and Julia could have tied at the top, but then she would probably she would have still won because she had a higher ranking in her results. And Margot Ravinel broke the duopoly. Since 2019, it has only ever been Marianne Faton or Emily Harrop that have won the women's sprint title. So that's really exciting, and still so young as well. So bravo to her. And behind her, Giulia Morada and Emily Harrop. And then in the men's, despite not winning the actual race on Saturday, Thibaut Anselme took the overall title, and he took it back from Oriol Cardona-Coll. So Thibaut had won in 2024. Oriol pinched it last year, and Thibaut got it back. And before that, it was only the Swiss, 2 by Ivan Arnold and 3 by Arno Lieta. And in the men's overall sprint, Thibaut Anselme, Oriol Cardona-Coll, and Jon Kissler. That was the top 3 there for the overall in this men's sprint. Just a quick word on the mixed relay overall. The Italians did not win, despite excellent racing on Sunday, but they did take the overall title for this season, which it's again this sort of strange season where some people weren't in solitude, some people weren't in Azerbaijan. There's this sort of, and the French seem to have just done Boitou to sort of do a quick prep before the Olympics, and then they haven't competed again. So they're not even in the top 5. So it's Italy, Switzerland, Spain, Germany, and Austria in the mixed relay rankings. And then on to some exciting overall news. The women's race, the women's overall title for the whole World Cup this season, very excitingly and extremely well deserved, goes to Giulia Morada of Italy, which is fantastic and breaks the 5-year-long reign by the French and takes that title. She is the first Italian woman to win the overall World Cup since Roberta Predenzini, forgive my pronunciation, which was in 2010. So that is really exciting. I was having a quick look at my Pedranzini.
Way to go.
There we go. Just getting my my pronunciation. And behind her, Emily Harrop, who had, of course, won it for several years previously. In fact, 4 years in a row. And then we had Margot Ravenel, Celia Peria-Pesce, and Alba Di Silvestro making up the top 5. In the men's, also a bit of a turnaround for the books. Rémi Bonnet won the overall title for the first time ever. And he also is the first Swiss man to have won that since Florent Troyer in 2010, who's a local hero where I live around here. And so that is really exciting. And he took the title from Thibaut, who'd had it for 3 years in a row. And before that, it was all Italians for a long time. And behind him, Paul Verbniak, which is a fantastic result for him. Really, really amazing to see him do so well this season. Thibaut Anselme in 3rd, Thomas Bussard of Switzerland in 4th, and his compatriot Aurélien Guay in 5th. So it was absolutely brilliant. One more thing to say, and then I will let you get a word in edgeways. The nations ranking for the season: Switzerland, France, Italy. And there we are.
I just want to say, Giulia Morada listeners, go back, find her interview that we did in February. I think you're going to love learning about her. And one thing that stood out to me, and Katie, you probably know this, her dad is her coach. And I asked Giulia, like, hey, does your dad use Training Peaks or data, or how is he, doing the coaching? And her answer was kind of like, he just looks at me and he watches me and he knows, do I feel good? Do I feel tired? What kind of, intervals do I need the next week? What a just cool, system. And it's great. I mean, just thinking of when we watch our own children, we often know what they're thinking, how they're feeling, and so cool to see that coming out. So way to go, Giulia. Way to go, Giulia's dad as well. What a cool story.
And Giulia's dad, I'm sure you know this, but Giulia's dad and Michele Boscacci's dad were the first ever ski mountaineering world champions. And so that's kind of really nice, because she is now the world champion. She's the World Cup champion. And she was an amazing junior. She had some amazing under 23 results. And then she had these few seasons where she just suddenly, unfortunately, she came into her own about the same time as Emily Harrop appeared almost out of nowhere. And there has been this sort of a longer trajectory for Giulia, and it is just so well deserved, because she has stuck at it after losing it with a very close, I think it was back in 21 or 22, she nearly had the overall title. And so just to see her really come into her own and take this title is just really brilliant. I'm thrilled for her.
Thanks to Camp for supporting the Skimo Gold podcast. I've been using Camp products for almost 2 decades now. Ski mountaineering, adventure racing, trail running, and multi-sport adventures. I love the packs. Been using them for Skimo for a long time. Probably my favorite current Camp pack is the Outback 20. Camp packs have all the features you need and none of the junk that you don't. Check them out. Camp. Thanks again for supporting the podcast, guys.
Well, on to Katie, some athletes who are departing from at least the sort of elite pro level of Skimo. I'll maybe start with a few stats, and these are athletes you've often known personally for many years, so I'll let you say most of it. But let's start with Arno Lieta, age 27, and he's, as we said, not very old, but been around at the top level, for quite some time. According to Skimo stats, 18 elite professional level wins at the World Champs. He's got a gold and a silver, and in the World Cup, phenomenal here. 10 World Cup wins, 13 World Cup silver medals, and 6 World Cup bronze medals. Katie, thoughts on Arno?
Oh, I got so emotional when I heard he was retiring because he's such, I mean, I sound like a patronizing old woman, but he's such a nice boy. He really is a nice lad from Graubünden and comes from a farming family. And I think, you've mentioned his results and amazing. He was 6 times Swiss national sprint champion. He won the world championships in his first year as an under 23 in Villars, which is really lovely. That's where he finished. Overall World Cup winner, 21, 22, 23. I think what we can mostly attribute to him and to Ivan Arnold, who retired last year, is what they did for the sprint discipline, what they did personally to get the discipline to where it is now. They set the bar, and I remember asking a long time ago, asking the Swiss coaches about what, about those two. And I've mentioned it many times on the broadcasting, but it's that they have an insanely high tolerance for lactate and a very, very quick recovery. And so they were able to push themselves really hard, recover really quickly, and then go again. And everything. And I actually, if you don't mind, I forgot to bring it up before, but I asked the Swiss team coach, and he sent me a little quote for Arno, and I'll translate it because he sent it in French. But what we will remember most about Arno is fair play and exemplary human values, even when the stakes were huge. A serenity for managing huge events, and a constant optimization to the best of his ability of his transitions. So just constantly trying to improve, like the marginal gains on all of that. So that is what the Swiss coach said. And it's so true. And I would just like to thank him because, so much of what we see now, what went to the Olympics, is because not just him, but he and Ivan Arnold were the two first to go, do you know what? I am a sprinter. I am a sprinter. That's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, thanks, Katie, and I love that. I don't know him personally, but I see that human side of it. I've heard from Cam Smith, Arno just offering encouragement, whether it's at the breakfast table or the warm up area or whatever. And something that stood out to me, correct me if I'm wrong, we had a brief finish line shot from this weekend where Arno has been hoisted upon the shoulders of 2 other athletes. And this was not his own team. I think it was 2 Spanish guys, right?
I didn't see that, but yeah, no, he's sort of the sort of old school ski mountaineers. He's kind of there. He's a mountain man. He's a countryside Swiss boy.
Yeah.
He's not, nobody in ski mountaineering has got an ego, but he's a very sort of, quiet, softly spoken, always a big smile, just a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that says something. If the guys from the other countries are picking you up to honor,
For sure.
your career. Yeah, way to go, Arno. Wishing you the best with whatever comes next. On to Johanna Hemer. Age 31, maybe different phase of life. We know from her previous interview that Cam and I did with her sometime last summer. She has young children. It's, I think, been a dynamic balance. That's a story that people love. She's had a great season. One little Skimo Gold secret, Katie, our episode that has the most listens of any episode is indeed the Johanna Hemer interview.
Ah.
So, audience, if you haven't listened, check it out. Clearly, she is popular with the fans, etc. A few stats: 17 pro level wins, 9 times Austrian national champion. And also the Alpen Cup Series 6-time winner, in addition to many others. And like we said, even this season, I mean, she just looked awesome. Like she's not petering out. I mean, she was there, if anything, on the ascension, like getting to new levels of results. And it appeared to me, just watching these races, seeming to be happy, seeming to be grateful. I think it was the vertical this last weekend. She comes across the finish line, and you could just see this happiness, gratitude, pride in her finish, and camaraderie with the other athletes. Katie, you know her better than me. What do you have to say about Johanna?
Oh, I mean, just an absolute ray of sunshine. Really amazing. I mean, she
Mm,
has a law degree and 2 children, and which she had very young. I think she was 23 and 25 when she had her kids. And
mm,
she's just managed to just keep this elite level going and raise her kids. And, this is one of the reasons she's retiring, is 'cause she wants to spend more time with her family. But what is so
yeah.
lovely, and I also got a quote from her coach, Matthias Gumpenberger. Um,
Mm,
he said, I mean, it's quite long, so I'll just take to this. But what is extraordinary is that when they decided on the 4-year cycle, when they said, right, this is what we're doing, we are going for the Olympics, she basically got her whole family involved. So all training plans were aligned from this objective from the very beginning. Johanna was enthusiastic about the goal right from the start. She, along with her entire personal environment, fully committed to this mission. And I mean, her husband, her parents, everybody was in on this. It wasn't definitely, I mean, it's never a one person show anyway, but this was definitely a family effort. Um, uh, what on the road to the games, Johanna received remarkable successes that established her as one of the leading figures in the sport. I'm very happy for her and especially pleased that she's able to end her career in good health and at the peak of her athletic performance. Johanna has been and continues to be a fantastic team member, someone many, especially young girls, look up to. Great asset to the team, relentless drive, never known anyone so consistent, exceptional athlete, etc. She will be missed within the team, but I'm sure we'll see her again on a start line. That is exactly who she is. And every time I've
mm,
seen her, uh, it's hugs and how are you? And it's so nice to see you. And how are your kids? She's just a great woman. I mean, if I were her, I'd be thinking, I've just got to the best results of my life. Why am I retiring? But I also
mm,
know what it's like when your kids are that size, when they get to an age where they notice that you're not around as much. It's much harder.
mhm.
You want to be there. You want to be more involved as
Yeah.
they get to school age and stuff. So,
Yep.
massive congratulations to her. She's a great girl.
Yeah, yeah. I heard from an athlete who is new to the skimo circuit, before some race, having breakfast, at the area where the other athletes are, and she was sitting there alone, and who wandered over but Johanna, just to say hi and welcome to the circuit, and hang out, and that's awesome.
Yeah, she's really great.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what she does as well. In addition to parenting, you mentioned the law degree. Who knows? Is that a profession that she pursues, or something else, or you know? Parenting is a full-time job as
Yeah.
well, as I know.
But I know that one is never a former athlete. One is just a former team member, national
Yeah.
team member, for example. People will go on to do
Yep.
amazing things, even though they hang up their national colors.
Yeah, totally. And who knows, other sports, lots of neat things to do. On to Marta Garcia Fares, 34 of Spain, winner of Pierre Menta, PDG, second place, world champ, second place. She's got a World Cup win. She's got 10 medals in the Spanish championships and the Spanish National Cup. Katie, thoughts on Marta?
Well, I know Marta less than the other two that we've mentioned already, but when I have crossed paths with her, again, just she's quite quiet, but has been such a stalwart. I mean, 16 years in the Spanish team. She's been there since she was a baby. And,
Yeah,
and
wow.
I was commentating with Mireia Miró, who obviously overlapped with her for a few
Yeah.
years. And she sort of came into the Spanish team when it was the Spanish women were everything, Mireia, Claudia Galicia, Naya Quincoces, all Laura
Yep.
Orge. These there was them and Leticia Roux. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
slightly exaggerating, and sort of the likes of Victoria Kreutzer and what have you, Maud Matisse from Switzerland. But the Spanish women were extraordinary. So she had these incredible role models ahead of her, and I feel like she has passed it forward, if you like, played it forward,
Mm.
whatever you say, and really has become somebody that the Spanish women especially can look up to. And I was chatting to Mireia about this because I said, suddenly all those amazing Spanish women, they all retired about the same time. And then boom, there was this huge void in the Spanish team because also Kilian Jornet stopped, Mark Pinsach stopped. And I spoke to the Spanish coach about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, so what's going on here then? He said, our major goal is to start building up the youth, especially the women, because we have such a strong history of Spanish women being so
Yep.
at the forefront. And Mireia said that when Ana Alonso started, she sort of started in this void when all these amazing athletes had just disappeared. But that Marta Garcia was still there and still, managing this extraordinary career and being an incredible role model for Ana Alonso and for the younger, Maria Costa, Maria Ordonez, who are now up and coming and going to be the next Spanish contingent of amazing women who are already. So yeah, massive congrats to her, because also in the meantime, she has had a little boy, and I've been in, at the World Cup events where she's had him there and he was still just a baby and her husband was there. So, again, a bit of a team effort to make sure she stays at the top of her game.
Wow. Thank you for that perspective. And Marta, wishing you the best as well. And the final one on our list, Brent Harris of Canada, the backbone of Canadian Skimo, now getting on to continuing the sport with race organizing and so forth. Katie, any thoughts on Brent, or how you've known him or seen him over the years?
Yes, well, Brent, I actually have a few more athletes as well to mention after this, if you
Okay,
don't
keep
mind.
them going. Yeah,
But
totally.
Brent, I have a very special affection for, because when I first started this job, the Canadians and the Americans, I think I've told you this before, sort of scooped me up and were like a cheerleading squad for me. And I largely suspect they were just happy that there was a native English speaker on the start line and the finish line. And they were like, oh, now we know what's happening. Hooray.
Yeah.
But, Brent was one of them right from the very start. They've always just been so encouraging. I mean, I've made him very cross over the years by wearing a USA Skimo hat in many of my Instagram posts. It's so cross that he once actually he FedExed me. He didn't actually FedEx, but it sounds cooler to say. He sent me a Skimo Canada hat to wear. So, but he's brilliant. He is just such an enthusiastic, brilliant member of the Skimo community. He has trained up so many of the referees that we now see regularly on the circuit, as you say, race organizing, and just being such a huge proponent or exponent, whatever the word is, I can never remember, fan of Skimo in general. So a massive thanks to him. I was so lucky to get to work with him one more time in Boitol earlier this year. He was the head referee and I was speaking, and we had a really brilliant weekend, just catching up and seeing each other. So that was, I was very grateful.
What else is on the list, Katie? Keep
so
them coming.
On my list from Switzerland, Deborah Chiarello Marti, who has been an incredible all-rounder for many, many years, latterly a sprinter because she also has 2 little girls, and she married Werner Marti, who retired a few years ago. So they again had a very, the ability to manage a family and the end of her Skimo career. So massive congratulations to her. She has done all sorts from sprinting to PDG and everything. So, and alongside her, also from Switzerland, also from Graubünden, where Arno Lieta is from, Patrick Perton. Congratulations on his career too. Florian Sautel of France. He is gone, most famously known on my live streams as a whitewater rafting coach in the summer. It's like one of the facts I always remember when I'm talking about him, but also a brilliant sprinter, a really, really high level sprinter. So congrats to him. And then to latter, Stefan Knopf of Germany and Daniel Zug of Austria also hung up their boots this week or this season. And so just all of them, every single one of them has made a huge and lasting contribution to the sport, and every single one of them is still young and lots to come, but we wish them all the very best.
Thank you for mentioning them and honoring them. And this is stuff for me to remember. Any and all of those folks, if you hear your name on there, contact Skimo Gold on Instagram, because we want to have you on the podcast, and I'll probably be reaching out to some of them as well. They'd all be
they all
great
speak
guests,
excellent English, so there you go.
All right. That's good. Well, I speak a little bit of Spanish, and that's about it. But I'm not ready for interviews in any other language other than English. I maybe know 5 words of Catalan as well. All righty. Any other thoughts on that stuff, Katie, or should we briefly mention what's coming up next? Few more races left.
No, let's look forward.
Yeah. Okay. So not much left, but I just checked here in Colorado, the Rocky Mountain Skimo website. We had a previous interview with Mark Koob from Rocky Mountain Skimo. If you haven't heard that, check that out. Mark is hustling and working hard this year more than ever to try to still make Skimo races happen. The website says that the 5 Peaks in Breck is happening this weekend on April 11th. I hope that happens. I hope something happens with it. There is, I skied on backcountry snow last week. What was that? Thursday. We got out. We found a little. It was not great snow, but there was a little bit of snow, and we got up onto a peak and looked around. And it was a good reminder. Even if the conditions aren't great, as long as they're safe, it's still a good activity. So, fingers crossed on 5 Peaks. We also have the PDG. We've mentioned that before, the week of April 14th. So that's coming up soon. Listeners, I do have a post-PDG interview scheduled. It's not with elite athletes. This is with the middle of the pack, middle-age folks out there. We're going to get that perspective on the PDG. Highly relatable for many listeners. And then the final one I wanted to mention, we had an episode, I thought this was really cool, talking with the directors of a neat event called the Coolshan Randonnée, which is up in the Pacific Northwest here in the States. Kind of modeled after the PDG. It's a teams race. It's on a glacier. It's dynamic. There's some, roping up with teammates to, navigate the glacier terrain and crevasses and stuff. And that's scheduled for May 16th. So be sure to check that out. And who knows? Listen, you might still be able to sign up for that. That's if you want an awesome end of the season adventure, something to think about. Katie, maybe for you it'd be a long commute, but something to consider.
Yeah, maybe not. Although that is a part of the world I would very much like to visit one day. So who knows?
Yeah. It sounds awesome. It's on. They've incorporated, just sort of some of the Native American sort of elements of that area, Native American land. That some of that goes into, the event, and it sounds super cool. It's definitely
Does
something
sound
I'd like
amazing.
to do sometime. So, few more coming. Katie, it's been great as always. Any final thoughts before we sign off today?
Well, just really to say that if you have never seen the start of the PDG in Zermatt or the finish in Verbier, and you are
Mm,
in this part of Switzerland, it is highly recommended. Um, it's probably on Saturday morning, the 18th, if that's the right night. Yeah, Saturday morning, the 18th, early doors, you'll see the elites coming in. But all during the week, that's in Verbier, but all during the week on the Wednesday, there's the first of the races come in, and then all day Saturday, and it's a really amazing atmosphere. And on Saturday, it is so cool because you get to see all the elites that you see. I love it because I get to see them on my screen mostly, and then there they are just running through my local resort, and I really love it. And as you say, it's not just the elites; it's everybody. Everybody's doing it, and
mm.
I usually have at least a handful of friends doing it, so it's a really great one to see. And we're just holding. It's super warm here, so I'm really hoping it's going to be all right.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You're getting me excited, Kate, because I've coached a number of athletes preparing for the PDG, and
Oh,
this is
cool.
making yeah. Maybe I could put that on my agenda at some point. Are you're going to be there this year, start and or finish as a spectator?
I
Or?
I will be speaker for the Patrouille des Jeunes for the kids on the Friday the
Hmm.
17th here in
Okay.
Verbier. And then I'm not here. My husband is doing it on the Tuesday night into Wednesday, but I'm not here.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I am
Yep.
somewhere else for work, but I will be on the finish line on Saturday seeing friends, and I'm hoping to get there early doors and see the elites coming in as, as, as much as I can. I'm trying anyway.
Yeah. Very cool. What do you think is the best way to follow the action online?
Well, the PDG has an app actually, and so you can
Mm.
actually dot watch like a crazy person. Every
Yeah.
time my husband
Yeah.
does it, I literally get no sleep. I'm dot
Uh-huh.
watching all night
Yep.
long
Yeah.
if I'm not actually in a roller being a support crew. But yeah, there's a Patrouille des Glaciers app, and then um, they have a Instagram account, but it's not
Hmm.
like there's not usually stream. Quite often you see the start. But I'm not sure if there's any streaming. But
Yep.
MSO is the other place because they usually do all the timing. So MSO.ch, I think they are. Pretty
Alrighty.
sure.
Well, Katie, thanks as always. Sure appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And folks, thanks as always for listening to Skimo Gold. We appreciate you. And thanks for just being a loyal and engaged audience, whether that's on YouTube, on Instagram, or on the audio podcast. Thank you. If you can, like, rate, review, subscribe, give us some comments, give us some feedback, share it with your friends. We really appreciate it. It's hard work to create these episodes, and we appreciate your support as well. We also appreciate the support of Camp. I've been using Camp products for over 20 years now. I started using the helmets and climbing gear for adventure races, and shortly thereafter started using packs and gloves and other things for Skimo. And it's been great stuff from the start. You often look for those Camp backpacks out there on the World Cup circuit or in races like the Pierramenta PDG, the Grand Traverse, etc. Great stuff. And Camp, we appreciate your support. I also appreciate Katie Friend. Thanks for being here with all these interviews this season. Be sure to follow Katie on Instagram at Katie Friend with a C. Follow our other collaborators, Cam Smith, you know that guy, at Cam from CB on Instagram. Episodes probably will slow down a little bit over the summer here, but we will keep coming at you We've got some planned already. I've got author Devin O'Neill talking about his book, The Way Out. Talks about backcountry skiing and overnight hut trips and a compelling story that happened there. So maybe check out that book, The Way Out by Devin O'Neill, working on a recording date with Marianne Fatone, the Olympic and world champion. And more to come as well. So maybe not quite as frequent in the podcast, but they will keep coming at you. And thank you for being part of the team. And we will catch you next time on Skimo Gold.